Dang it, man. I walked out in my new socks. And they got dirty. They got dirty. Okay, guys. Let's react to this Marquees Brown video. What's up, Judge John?
Hey, what's up? I'm KBHD here.
Pixel Fold.
Yo, the Pixel Fold is a weird phone. There are so many things about this thing that are unusual. So I and many other people have been waiting for a folding Pixel. This is something we imagined was coming eventually, so it is kind of surreal to actually.
So it's the first version of the Pixel Fold, guys. I didn't think they would actually come out with one. Just released.
Actually be holding and have been using and testing this phone. I've been using it for about a week now, and boy, do I have a lot of thoughts. So I guess let's just start with the design. I really like a lot of the decisions they've made with this foldable, which really...
What's up, Judge? Not just reacting, man. Did a 9-hour sleep stream. So it's like, sheesh. We chillin'.
optimized far towards it being thin and passport shaped. Originally, when I first got to play with it, I was saying, man, this could be the best foldable to use while closed.
Who's got the Tesla app?
And I do now stand by that take. It's the easiest, best foldable to use when it's closed. But unfortunately, it does have a much lower ranking for using it while open. So the front screen is 5.8 inches diagonally. It's got these curved edges you can see, and it's actually fairly thin bezels all the way around. The rails...
Guys, would you rock this? Would you rock this? This would be good to play emulators on for reals.
The way around the phone itself and the hinge are stainless steel, and the whole thing is relatively thin. It's just bordering on a little bit thicker than the thickest normal phone you can get. I think the number is like 12 millimeters total. You can see there's no air gap in the middle. So honestly, yeah, I've spent a lot of time using the outside screen like a normal phone, and it's just the most reachable, usable outside screen of any folding phone.
So yeah, they got the regular Pixel design for the camera.
You unlock it with the fingerprint reader on the side, which is also the power button, and it's pretty quick. This is a 100...
No fingerprint reader on the back of the phone.
120 hertz OLED display that gets up to
120 hertz, very good. That's a good refresh rate.
150 nits peak brightness, so it's plenty visible outside. It looks really
Like the top of the line Pixel 7 is 120 hertz, so not bad.
good to me in most situations. I mean, I'm impressed. This is a premium outside display, which, I mean, I guess I should be for $1,800, but we'll get to the price a little bit later. The point is, though, I've always said the
$1,800? That's the price of a car, man.
best foldables have to be usable as just a regular phone, too, and this one does accomplish that. Great. So then you open up the phone, and then that's when things start to get a little more weird. So you can't exactly open this phone with one hand. I've definitely tried. I kind of try this with every foldable. Some are easier than others. This one's pretty much a no-go. But once you get it open, when you're in there, you're greeted with an interior 7.6-inch folding AMOLED display.
Kind of a big bezel around the horizontally or vertically. I forget which.
Also 120 hertz and also plenty bright, up to 1450 nits. Really nice size. It's reminiscent of that Oppo Find N2 foldable. But there are a couple of things to note. Here's where some of the weird starts. So first of all, the crease is pretty average. It's definitely not dramatically worse than others I've seen, but you can for sure see it if you're looking for it, and you can kind of feel it. But because
very noticeable crease. That's not good.
it's through the middle of the screen, you aren't usually running your finger over it, unlike the vertically folding phones. So it's not really a big deal. It's easy to disappear to your eyes as you just look at content and use it normally. But then there was just some talk about how it didn't seem like the phone fully unfolds to 180 degrees. And, well, I don't know. This hinge is really firm, so you can fold it up halfway or any angle you want really easily, which is awesome. But then when you fold it flat, visually it looks pretty flat, but when you put it on a table, since there's a camera bump, it becomes more clear as it's rocking back and forth. It's maybe like 1 or 2 degrees short of flat. It's kind of weird. I mean,
but that's a very big screen. That'd be cool to have on a phone.
You can force it to get to flat or even a little bit past that, but it really doesn't feel good to do that. Anyway, then there's the bezel. As you've probably seen by now, this phone does have a slightly bigger top and bottom bezel than some other folding phones. It is noticeable at first when you just look at the bezels. But again, it's one of those things where you start using the phone and it is easy to forget about. You know, I think a lot of videos are going to hold it up side by side next to the Samsung Fold, and then it's like, oh yeah, clearly one of them has a dramatically thinner bezel, and it is really noticeable. But
Well, that other phone looks a lot bigger than this one, man.
just using the phone, it looks fine. And Google actually says that this was an intentional decision. So what they were saying is they were, again, biasing so much towards it being thin that for some of the hinge components, they move them out and above and below the hinge instead of in that Z-axis space, so that it could be as thin as it is, but now you end up with a little bit of extra bezel above and below the screen. But it did allow them room to put in a real webcam or selfie camera instead of a
Alright, so they sacrificed some bezel for a selfie cam in the front, which is kind of needed.
under display one. But also, I think this is a little bit along the lines of Google. The Pixel has never really been all about pristine, super highly engineered, like amazing hardware. They've sort of flexed their strengths on the software side. And
Yeah, man, that's what I want a Pixel, because they're gonna update this. Like, we're gonna get like Android 15 with it, 16 maybe.
I think there's a little bit of that here too. Either way, you can check the box of IPX8 water resistance, which is nice. I do really like this satin finish on the back, which does a good job of minimizing fingerprints and looks pretty good. And the camera bump doesn't go all the way to the very edges to meet the rails of the phone. That would have been tough with the foldable, but I do still think they did a good job of maintaining the whole Pixel aesthetic. Performance is weirdly good. It's really, really good. It's actually the best of any Pixel phone, even though it's using the same chip. It's the
No way. Did they optimize it or something? What the heck?
Tensor G2 from the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. But it feels smoother and faster and more consistent than the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. So, maybe it could be that 12 gigs of RAM that are in here. It also has 250.
Whoa, 12 gigs of RAM. I think the the regular Pixel has like 8 gigs of RAM, so that's a good improvement.
56 or 512 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage. But yeah, it's been butter the whole time. I am very happy to report. Now, it's still a Pixel, so I have to add the disclaimer that it might not stay this way.
Oh, that's cool how like Spotify opened in full screen mode. That's actually super convenient.
Pixels have a history of this accelerated aging, which is even more
snap. He's got 2 things on his screen.
a bummer when you pay this much for a phone, but I can't report on that until we actually get to a year from now. So the best I can do is tell you how
Switching to the screen seems super responsive.
it's acting now, and it is acting great. The other thing, though, that I'm kind of actually hoping changes over time is the battery life. Because the battery life in this week that I've been testing the phone has not been great. Usually, actually, I can kind of just throw away the first day or two of me testing this phone because it's, still setting it up, still connecting everything and getting it working properly. And then I can start looking at the numbers. But basically every day since I first got this phone, I've kind of had the same experience, which is not that great. 4 hours of screen on time at the end of my day.
No, man. That means you're going to have to bring some power banks or charge in your car or something. Gosh, darn.
Which is not nearly as high as some of the flagships out there. It is a 4,800 milliamp hour battery, which is really good for a foldable, but not gigantic for a giant screen on the inside. So Pixels have this feature called adaptive battery, and sometimes they can get a little bit better over time. Depends on your use, depends on who you are, your mileage may vary. But yeah, I would say this is like C+ battery life. And the more I think about it, I've been using a lot of the phone while closed, which means it's the smaller outside screen.
Man.
And so if I had been using the larger inside screen even more, it would not have gone better. So yeah, C+ for battery. But I want to talk about the software experience here because it is a Pixel after all, and there is one weird thing. So this was a very interesting phone to test because Google had to do a lot of software
Man, I would not be using my phone in that mode. I'm just saying.
work, and I was excited to try all of it. Google's apps are all these beautiful tablet optimized apps now. They're so thoughtfully designed for the phone with this size screen. They all look normal on the outside screen, but on the inside, Google Drive has this nice slide out sidebar and multi-column view.
Oh my gosh, it's like it's how it's supposed to phone is be. It's how it's supposed to phone is be, bro. It's supposed to phone. A phone is supposed to be, bro. Like, you know, like a computer. You can actually see a good amount of the screen.
Gmail's new
I would definitely prefer this on my phone.
multi-column view is great. The weather app, the new weather app is absolutely fantastic. Google Calendar is completely redesigned. Like, there's just so much good stuff. And then the new dock sort of ties it all together. So this dock I talked about on the Pixel tablet, you swipe up slightly from the bottom and the home bar turns into your home screen dock. So this is the apps that you have on the bottom of your home screen.
Oh no, that's kind of cool, bro. Yeah, you're serious? Check that out, man.
Apps, or launch into multitasking super easily. So just like the other folding phones, I feel like a multitasking god when I'm using this huge folding phone open and just typing away. But here is the weird part. As far as I can remember, every other foldable phone allows you to set up the home screens and stuff on the outside screen, and then the inside screen is separate. You can have a separate set of widgets. You can go crazy and make a different layout on the inside here. And on this phone, you cannot do that. So look, right now my outside screen is these 3 pages. This one with the icons and the weather, and then this calendar widget one, and then this third one. So when I open up the phone, that's exactly mirrored here. The left one is the first home screen, then the right one is the second one, and I swipe over and here's the third one. But if I like take this raindrop icon and move it over here, and then when I go back to closed, it's also moved the raindrop icon there because it's keeping them exactly mirrored at all times, which is fine. I think that actually makes a lot of sense, especially for beginners. Like I bet if...
Yeah, what's wrong with that, guys? I think that's pretty cool.
If Apple made a folding iPhone right now, they would do the exact same thing because iPhone users are used to not having a ton of customization on their home screens. But I haven't found a way to unlock that at all. Like I haven't seen any home screen setting or display setting to actually be able to set up a different home screen on the inside versus the outside.
Oh my gosh, there was a ladybug or like some bug crawling on me. I had to flick it off.
Just feels kind of un-Android-like to me. Like, I feel like I can't be the only one who's spending $1,800 on a first-gen folding phone who would like to have some apps on the outside screen and then like a bunch of widgets on the inside screen, you know? You actually can't even span the middle with one widget because it's treating them basically as 2 separate home screens.
No! Oh, come on. Are you serious? No, don't do that. Google.
Even though it's all with one big folding screen. I just found that so weird. So anyway, aside from that,
It is gonna need some software updates, man.
I really enjoyed using the Pixel Fold. Seriously, between the great performance and the Google software, you know, all the Pixel stuff, Google Assistant, call screening, etc., it's really easy to get past the...
Hold on, screenshot for a thumbnail. There we
weirdness. The other thing you typically expect out of a Pixel, though, is good cameras. So let's talk about this camera situation for a little bit because, as I've said, everywhere you look, there's just a little bit of weird. So first of all, actually, there are 5 cameras on this phone. There is the 9-megapixel hole punch camera on the front, on the outside screen.
Wow, that's like better than my webcam, man.
Then there's an 8-megapixel camera on the inside, up in that bezel. Then there's the 3 primary cameras on the back. The thing with these back cameras is because of how thin the phone is, there's definitely not enough room to physically fit the same size sensors and optics that you have in the flagship Pixel phone. So there is all new stuff here, and it's a little bit smaller. So there's a 48 megapixel main camera, a 10 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel 5x telephoto. Pixel Fold photos feel a lot like Pixel 7a photos, which isn't an insult. That's just to say that they're in the same style, you know, the same contrasty Pixel style, but overall are definitely a step down in quality from the flagships. They're a bit noisier, a bit more muted in the colors, especially with the ultra wide, and it takes a bit longer to gather the same amount of light as the larger flagship sensors. Also, if you want to see video from the Pixel Fold, I actually shot the entire last autofocus video on the Pixel Fold, so you can clearly see it's a step down from some of the other flagships I've shot with. There's a lot of noise in the darker areas of the frame. But I will say it was definitely easier to shoot with because it's a folding phone, so I can just unfold it and I see the viewfinder and I can frame things up with the primary camera. So that's an advantage. But yeah, it's not like you're going to go out and shoot, you know, movies on this thing. I mean, Samsung has had to deal with the same type of
Dude, I need that camera. I need that webcam for the live streams, man.
thing. Like the camera quality of their super expensive foldable phones has always been a slight step down from their, you know, big flagship slab style phones. So I think that's a fair comparison. This is a step, it's a notch down from the Pixel flagship cameras. You know what's fun? This is technically a first gen device, right? This is the first time Google's ever
Everybody's getting on that trend, though. Everybody's getting on the Pixel trend, bro, for reals.
made a foldable. And on one hand, you can kind of tell that they've at least learned some things from the other foldables already out there, because this feels a little bit better in some ways. Like they've gone with this passport-sized form factor, and they've made conscious decisions to make it thin.
Now that is a cool skin or case he has.
And there's some hinge innovation here, and it's kept the Pixel aesthetic. Just a lot of good choices that are impressive for a first-gen device.
It's a luxury thing to have nowadays, except the Z Flip. Z Flips are pretty cheap.
But it still clearly has some first-gen
Even Microsoft made a folding phone.
shortcomings also that have me thinking, well, maybe the next one will be better, you know? Like for the inside display, the crease and the bezels and the 178-degree almost flat fold, like, maybe the next one will be better. For the weak battery life, like, yes, there is wireless charging, but hey, maybe the next one will have faster charging than the
He said, no, the next one, bro. It's already, I think it's a pretty good, cool device, but
current max of 30 watts. And of course, the app situation is still, let's just say it's clearly imperfect. So they've done a lot of good stuff with their software, but some apps still look horrible. I mean, look at Instagram.
oh no,
It just-
no, okay, that's not a W, man. They could have like one. They could have made it like a double thing, like, you know, 2 Instagrams, but like they'll be both on each side of the phone, so you can scroll through more at once. You can see more on your screen at once.
It looks terrible. You can double tap to the left or to the right to move it over closer to the side where it's more reachable, but still, I mean, that is rough. Twitter also looks horrible. My golf app, 18 Birdies, also not optimized. Even YouTube Studio is just not optimized for this bigger screen. And the list goes on and on and on. Maybe that'll be better by the next one. So then the last weird thing about this phone is it is $1,800. So of course that prices out pretty much anyone who's just gonna like walk into a
Dude, you could buy a friggin' S16 with it, bro.
store casually and just get a normal upgrade
S23, sorry.
for their phone. It will be relegated to the early adopters, the enthusiasts, maybe people watching this video, and the Pixel fans. It's a smaller group. But also, I gotta say, weirdly enough, I really like using this phone. I love using this phone. It's got just the right set of quirks and features that I like it over the regular Pixel, which I had been using. And also, I think it's specifically because it's so well optimized for using it closed. Like I keep talking about how it's the best foldable to use closed. It's got the right set of strengths and weaknesses that I spend most of my time just enjoying using it like a normal phone closed. And then every once in a while, my 20, 30, 40% of the time that I open it up and use it, it's just this whole new world, and it's a nice benefit. It's getting closer to that
It's a whole new world.
ideal folding phone for me. I really like it. It's also Android 14 coming up soon. 5 years of promised security updates. Great haptics. Great speakers. I mean, there's a lot of, it's got just enough upside that I really like it. I'm sure I'm looking forward to the next one still, of course. But for anyone else who's going to jump in on this first gen version, just know what you're getting into. It's a weird one, but I like it. Also, you might have spotted a few designs from channel sponsor dbrand a few times in this video. This new one, it's called Robot City.
That's pretty cool. I didn't... how do you even... It doesn't even look like a skin. It looks like its own custom foam.
And I think it's pretty sick. It's one of my favorite designs they've released yet. It helps a lot also on a phone that's as monotonous as the Pixel Fold. So these sort of designs have kind of become a staple of dbrand over the years. I don't know if you remember the hair dryer that's been in the studio, which was wrapped in the original robot skin. So this new one, Robot City, if you can look closely, you'll see it actually, there are 3 different versions that you can choose from that are all these unique, discrete pieces of art. First one is called Dead Quarters, kind of like a dystopian headquarters of Robot City. The second one is Abusement Park, complete with sharks and krakens and doomed carnival rides. And the third one really hits home for me. It's called Crime Square. Because, you know, like Times Square, but with crime. There are so many Easter eggs in them, it's silly. So if you want to check them out, the Robot City skins are available on over 100 devices, including the Pixel Fold. So if you want to check them out, I'll have a link down below in the description. Either way, that's been it.
Not bad, not bad. Good video, good video. It's just released like an hour ago. Or actually 4 hours ago, so we had to go over it. Very cool, very cool. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. See you next video.